On this week's edition of Colleen's Community Connections, Earth Friendly April, we're with Catie and Matt Doherty from Garden State Composting. They're going to tell us a little bit about their business, and then we're going to actually get in the truck and look at some composting. To start off, where did this idea come from? Did you think that you would ever be starting your own business?
No, so basically when the pandemic hit, me and my partner Ian, who's not here, we both got sick and we both had to leave our jobs. And when we moved back to Jersey, we were looking for a service like ours because we had had access to them in the past in different places where we had lived. And we found that there wasn't one to use. So we decided we're just gonna fill that gap. So that's what happened.
What's your background? Do you have a background, in sustainability?
Yeah, so I went to the University of New Hampshire for environmental conservation and sustainability.
Okay.
So it was always my goal to do something around climate change and climate science, and I just fell into doing this.
And how does composting, like talking about climate change, can you give us a little bit of information about that and how composting helps?
Yeah, so when you throw out your organic waste, like your kitchen scraps, things like that, and it goes into a landfill, it can't decompose properly because of how tightly compact the landfill is. There's layers. So instead of decomposing the way it should, it emits methane, which is a greenhouse gas, and that's a greenhouse gas is climate change causing gas, which it's also, there's dispute on the number, but at a minimum 25 times more damaging to the environment than carbon dioxide.
Wow.
So when you're talking about climate change, methane is a big problem. It's also the same gas that comes from like cattle farming, so beef production. So it's an important gas to focus on when you're trying to figure out what to do about climate change.
So you came back to the area and thought, and you were saying, where were you before that these services were provided?
So when we were in Philly, there's actually two that I know of in Philly that do basically exactly what we do. And then when we lived in New Hampshire, there was also a company there called Mr. Fox that also did that. And so we had access to it for years, and coming back to Jersey, we didn't.
Why not?
Yeah, so why doesn't it exist here yet?
In the Garden State,
right? Exactly.
Like, why does it not exist here?
Yep.
So do you want to take us kind of through what the process is and answer some questions about just composting in general?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go check it out. All right, Matt, so what types of things can people compost and what should people never compost?
Yeah, so basically the stuff that you're going to want to compost is like fruits, veggie scraps, like tea bags, eggshells, even like cotton fabric can go in, like lint from the dryer can go in actually as well. Yeah. Paper, cardboard if it's not like waxy, like waxed sealed like granola bar ones, but like corrugated cardboard can go in.
That can go in, okay.
Stuff you shouldn't put in is like, this sounds like it should be obvious, but plastic. Don't put plastic in, people. Like there are like biodegradable plastics, but unless it's like specifically for composting, don't put it in there.
Okay.
Also, dairy products and meat, while they obviously they're organic material, they can break down because they attract so many animals and the smell is often really intense. It's not like often done in composting. There's a method for it, but it's not like often commercially done. So yeah, like meat, dairy products keep out. But yeah, and so it's sort of like the breakdown of which of those things are greens versus browns, because that's a conversation people,
So what does that mean, greens versus browns?
So green basically means it's like nitrogen or protein heavy.
Okay.
And those will be like your fruits and your veggie scraps, the eggshells, coffee grounds, manure if you're putting that in your system, and those are going to be helping break down stuff. It's doing the work of like introducing the enzymes into the pile that allow for the microbial activity to take place, which is how the stuff breaks down.
Okay.
And then the browns would be your paper, your dead leaves, the cardboard, and those are basically just like adding bulk and air to the compost pile, and also providing food for like the other soil organisms that are going to help out. Like worms are going to be like chewing on that stuff and helping it break down further.
So I was thinking a banana peel is brown. I'm like, we're not talking that brown.
Yeah,
okay.
no, not just the color. It's more of like it's not really like the green versus
browns.
It's sort of it's not a very perfect system, right? It's not a great indicator for just like the color, because fruits are all sorts of colors and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, so people be like, oh, like how are coffee grounds not browns? It's just because they're not.
That's what I would think.
Yeah,
yes.
right. And then the browns are more like they're more carbon rich as opposed to the nitrogen rich. So it's that having a concentration of carbon to nitrogen that balance is really important.
So that's where balance comes into play. Is there a certain, like, are you looking for equal parts green brown, or is there, are you looking for one heavier than another?
Yeah, so it's like a 3 or 4 parts brown to like 1 part nitrogen.
Okay.
So you want like a heavier brown, and a good way to sort of tell if you're getting that ratio right is first of all, if people are like home composting, I tend to like once I put my green in, say like some veggie scraps, some cucumbers from a salad, and then just add like 3 parts brown leaves to the 1 part cucumber, and that way you don't have to like be looking at your whole pile and be like, I don't know how to get like 3/1 of the, you can just
I picture myself with like a teaspoon in like baking, like what,
and it doesn't have to be
it doesn't have to be, okay, all right, so it doesn't have to be perfect.
And there's a good indicator of like when you have too many greens, it might start getting like stinky and sort of like gross and wet. And if you add more brown, and adding more browns will fix that. Whereas like if you feel like your compost pile isn't really heating up, it's not doing the work it's supposed to be, you probably just like have to add more greens.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long do scraps take to break down? Like, was it from when you put them in there till?
Yeah. It depends on the process and how well you're maintaining it. Stuff that I would suggest people do to maintain your piles would be to turn it. Basically just means like, shoveling it around and pushing around the different parts. So basically just like you're increasing everything's exposure to each other, you know what I mean? So you're like making sure the greens and the browns are really well mixed, and any microbes that are there, because basically what composting is farming microbes, because they're just like these little itty bitty organisms that are doing the work of breaking it down and causing all this heat to go off, which is like causing the breakdown.
Fascinating.
Yeah, right?
Like, I mean, honestly, like
so you just kind of want to like put them together, like have them meet more so they can reproduce, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like,
have a little party.
Yeah, it's like a little like date part, like,
exactly.
like speed dating basically.
Yeah, right?
So
they're just swiping right.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, it's Tinder for composting.
There you go.
And like watering it is really good too, because like more water helps with the breakdown. Yeah, and then like there are also definitely different systems people can use. If you've got access to a backyard and you can just like make a pile or make some sort of a structure, that's cool. But there are also like in-home like compost tumbling machines, and those aren't like terribly expensive.
So
actually.
I've seen them, like, and that's the same thing. Like, so that's compost, and it kind of provides the same thing what you're just talking about. Instead of shoveling it, like you can just turn it, and that's what. Okay.
And to answer your original question, it's about 2 to 4 months. So it's a little bit of a gap, but it really does depend on how well you're maintaining it and how well you got the balance. Or if you don't want to do it yourself, you can call us.
So that was my next question, Matt. Someone like me, like, I wouldn't know where to begin, and I would love to try, but I told you, I'm the one with a teaspoon out there, like measuring things and feeling it needs to be like perfect. So tell me about your business. If I called you and said, look, I really want to do this, how do I separate it for you at home? What do you pick up, like, and what do you offer?
It is ridiculously easy. It's basically, you can do a weekly or a bi-weekly thing, but it's basically like trash night. I mean, like as you're like going through your week and you're like, you have your scraps and like I said, like your fruits, veggies, like any coffee grounds, like people just like, the amount of like coffee is, we're partnering with a coffee house right now, a coffee shop right now, who we're taking a lot of their like bulk stuff. What's the name of that coffee shop?
It's the Station Coffee House.
The Station.
In Merchantville.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, we take their stuff. So yeah, it's basically like you can either sign up for a weekly or a bi-weekly, and you just, by the end of that period, we do Mondays and Thursday pickups. So you literally just put your stuff out, we take it, put it back, and it's like trash day, basically.
So all the coffee houses that are listening right now around the area, you can call them to come pick up your coffee grinds too. Shameless plug, but you know,
please.
it's
We have no shame.
Good, there you go. So you give people this?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
This is what we give you, and you give us your scraps, and then we put it in these bins. So these are just like stuffed with.
Can we get up and look?
Yeah, we can get up and look.
Billy, you coming? All right. Wow.
Yeah, so basically you can see it's a mix. Like people have like paper towels in there, which is totally fine if it's not like, a treated paper product. And you
so you can put paper towel, okay.
Yep, yeah, paper products are fine. You can see there's stems from flowers and people's like gardening scraps. They've got banana peels.
So you really find out what people do in their lives, what they eat.
We've got literal dirt on people. You look in the bucket.
The dirt.
Oh, that's what you're eating, okay.
Is that crab? What's that? No?
I hope not. No, that looks more like quinoa to me. Sometimes people put like imitation meatballs and stuff in there.
Okay,
like,
all right.
I hope that's imitation meatballs. Yeah, so like plant-based meat products are cool too.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's so basically, yeah, we take it from you and then we drop it off to Linville Orchards in Media, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
And they do all the breaking down and they do all that. And what we wind up having is this. And we actually just started doing that this year.
So is this an extra service that you provide? Like you can add on a service?
Yeah, and you can be a member or not be a member. We have a discount for members, but
wow.
This is the product you get back. This is our compost. Yep. That's black gold. Yeah, look at that.
See? Nutrient-rich soil. Nutrient-rich right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. I mean, what an amazing idea. Well, we can hop down.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. But seriously, what an amazing idea. And what you're doing, you guys are doing like the work of many people, because it's something that maybe people don't realize. And it's like you immediately go to throw, even down like a garbage disposal,
right.
like, and things that you don't even think about, like, wow, taking these scraps and doing this makes such a big impact.
Yeah, I'm about to move to New York State, and I'm not gonna have access to this, and it's gonna feel really, really uncomfortable for me to have to start. I'm gonna see.
You know what you have to do.
Yeah, I'll make another.
Garden State Composting 2.0.
Sister branch.
Actually, but it's not the Garden State there. But well, you know,
right,
we can.
that's fine.
That's all right. We'll
Yeah,
figure.
that's all technicality.
We'll work on the marketing and the name behind that one. Yeah.
I mean, and it is really cool, like, you know, and not my idea, it was hers, but she releases these impact statements on the Instagram page that they have, and they're like, the numbers are really, really impressive. Like this does work. Like, this is like very tangibly keeping stuff out of landfills, and it's like we're taking resources away from the planet at a rate that it can't take them back, and being able to like literally not just put it back in the ground, but like make it easier for producers, farmers to do their job is like, it's like a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
And win-win-win-win-win-win-win. And something I feel like I even struggle with myself, but I hear it all the time, is like, what's a small change I can do? Like, it's, you know, and this is something that I feel like it might feel so small, but the impact that it's actually making. So now it's like, all right, well, I think that I'm just by recycling or doing this or doing that, like, you can really do small things like this and make a big difference. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, this is more than like cutting out straws, you know what I mean? Like, this is, it is, like I said, it is so easy. You literally just, instead of putting it in the trash can, put it in the green bucket, put it out once a week. That's it.
I mean, you've inspired me, and I'm now inspired to do this as well. Not myself, I'm gonna call you guys.
Cool.
You're gonna do it, I'm not doing it. What townships around here, so people that are watching, like, who can call you, where do you go to, where do you travel to?
Yeah, so it's like the Camden County area, am I correct in saying that?
And a little further, like, into
Burlington County. I saw like Mount Laurel, Morristown, Medford. Will you go all Medford, Marlton? So,
we do Marlton, not Medford yet.
Not Medford
but
yet.
We're growing fast.
Okay. So Medford, maybe it's coming to you soon.
Yeah.
So
Soon.
yeah.
Look out, Medford.
Yeah. Well, Catie, Matt, thank you so much for being a part of this today, and I hope that it inspires everybody out there to make a simple change. Like, this is one small thing that you can do, and it makes a huge impact. So
Thank you, Colleen.
let's save our Earth.
We have to.
Thank you.